Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Workflows and Espressos. I'm your host, Meaghan Moylan, and I am so excited that we are back. We had a week off, and it is not because I didn't try to put out content. It is because it was not successful. So last week, I recorded 2 episodes. One of them over the weekend that my microphone was broken. And so I didn't know until Kelsey, our incredible producer, went to produce the episode and the audio wasn't there. So that was really great. And then the second one, I interviewed 2 guests. Like, no offense to all the incredible people that I've interviewed so far, but it was the most incredible conversation. And I was so excited about the interview. And I texted both of them and said, like, that was insane. I can't wait for this to come out. And then Kelsey reached out and said, hey, one of the guests' audio and video never showed up, so you have to re-record. It was heartbreaking, okay, to say the least. Very heartbreaking. So I am sorry that we didn't have an episode last week, but I am really excited to be back. I hope everyone had a really safe and happy and healthy 4th of July and patriotic, of course. I had an incredible 4th of July. Clark and I threw a party. It was really fun. We had all of our friends and his employees came over. And then 2 days later, my dog ran, we think, into chicken wire and sliced her entire side body and has a cut on the side of her that needed 9 staples. So that was my Saturday. I did spend time with CJ Stam from Southern Comfort Cabin Rentals on Saturday, like right before the whole chicken wire incident happened. And it was so great. Like, it's always so incredible to be able to spend time with people in the industry. He was traveling to Jackson with some of his family, so I got to like show him around town square. And I don't know, I love connecting with industry friends in general, but when they come to Jackson, I get to show them around and let them experience this like incredible place. Is so fun and exciting. So it was a very fun morning followed by a very stressful afternoon. But Sage, our dog, is amazing. She's doing great. I've got a new cord coming for my microphone that's going to be fixed here very soon. I'm going to re-record with those 2 guests. Thank you very much. Luckily, they're both incredible and are willing to re-record, and we have an episode today. So those are my updates. I hope everyone is less chaotic than I am this week. I am very excited to be back and things to be normal. Let's get in to the episode. We are going to talk about all things owner acquisition this week. So this is a topic that we haven't broached yet on Workflows and Espressos, but I'm really excited to talk about it because I think it's so important, especially as we head into business development season this fall, which is really like not all markets fall as a very busy season, but in many markets fall as a really busy business development time period. And a lot of owners are looking to switch managers after they had maybe an underwhelming summer or their home wasn't taken care of. So I know that business is going to be booming here soon. And I'm really excited to give all of my tips, tricks, ideas, advice, and suggestions. So when I think of owner acquisition, really the first step that comes to mind when I was planning for the episode was understanding what owners you want to bring on. So a lot of what I want to talk about today is outbound owner acquisition, which I think a lot of us as managers understand and have a process and a flow for our inbound. Any like requests that we get from owners for projections or more information, like that is pretty easy, especially as you start to get momentum in your company. But what happens when you want to start reaching out to owners and really going out and acquiring them? Do you hire a business development representative? Do you do all the business development? What kind of conversation should you be having? How do you close the deal? So the first thing that I would say is to understand what type of owners you are looking to go after, whether it is a specific location, whether it is a projection amount that you're looking for, or you're looking for a specific type of property which has a specific amenity available. Find out what that looks like for you. What do you want in your portfolio? And look, maybe you're interested in taking everything and that is your model. Maybe you want to be very specific about what you take on and you're only going hyper luxe, so they have to be producing $200,000 plus in revenue every single year. It really depends on what's going to fit in with your business model and your overall plan and strategy for your company. But deciding this will help us answer questions as we go about this process and allow you to have a focus, which I think is important in anything you do. And we've talked about it a lot on the show. Having an understanding of what type of growth that you want, specifically when it comes to organic growth, when you're about to spend money and resources to go after something and bring properties on. I think having this like direct funnel that you're looking for is crucial. So you've decided what type of homes you want to bring on, what those owners look like. Now, how are you going to go out and sell them? And I think the next step is having a differentiator. No matter what, you need to have something that sells your company. What is different? Are you the owner operator and you work every single day and you're going to be the direct contact for all owners? I don't recommend that, but maybe that's your differentiator. Maybe your differentiator is your commission percentage. Whether it is a low commission percentage and you do charge for additional costs for your homeowners, or let's say you have a very high commission percentage and everything is really rolled up and included in that. And so the owner feels like they aren't being nickeled and dimed in any way, and you really want to lean on that. Maybe you have a very high employee to property ratio. So you've got 10 employees for every one property on your program. Maybe you're a tech-enabled, very data-focused company, and that is your differentiator. You're in an area where a lot of the other owner-operators are a little bit far behind and might still be writing their reservations down on a piece of paper, and you can lean on the fact that you've really embraced technology and your company is in this like new wave of tech. Or maybe it's none of these things, but I think no matter what, you have to have a differentiator and a selling point. You need to lean into it and then practice what you preach every single day. And honestly, like more than anything, it's okay if what your differentiator is now is not what it is a year from now. Just at any given time, like what is selling your program? Why are you doing what you're doing? What type of issue in your area is that you're solving for? This differentiator is going to come into play a lot during the sales process as you're starting to explain why it's important for a homeowner to go with you versus Billy Bob, your competitor down the road. So understanding this and then sharing it with your team is going to be like crucial as step one, or step two, I guess I should say, of your business development process. So we know who we're going after. We know what our selling point is going to be. I also think there is a part two to this like overall sales strategy, and that would be your overall brand and the authenticity of the brand that you have. So I recommend immediately, like in order to build a trustworthy brand, I think it's really important to have a guide that you're following. So whether you hire a graphic designer in-house or a marketing team in-house, or whether you're using a contracted marketing team, creating a brand and then a brand guide, which will tell you when you can't use your logo, what font you should be using and what you shouldn't, what needs to be capitalized and what doesn't. It sounds almost like silly and small as you're thinking about it, but this brand guide is really going to be your bread and butter for starting to deliver consistency to these homeowners. A homeowner at the end of the day wants to partner with a company that they feel like they can trust. They're consistent in the experience they provide. You know what to expect, and they are authentic to what they are saying that they're offering, right? Like what you are saying on the outside matches what you're doing on the inside. And I think it really starts with building this recognizable brand and then associating that with the consistency of the experience that you're providing. So this consistency looks like a lot of things. It could be responding to reviews, whether they're a 1-star review, a 3-star review, or a 5-star review. It could be training your team and making sure that whether you're talking to Meaghan on the phone or whether you're talking to Susie on the phone, you're having that same experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean that Meaghan and Susie have a script that they're working off of. It just means that you are being met with the same politeness and the same willingness to help if you have a problem, or excitement, and just the same like representation of that brand that you're trying to create. And these types of connections and this type of consistency is like the slow building blocks of building this like very trustworthy brand. I honestly think of Delta, which none of y'all are surprised about. But when I think about Delta, there is a very consistent experience with the flight attendants. They might say different phrases, but the consistency and the level of experience they're providing is there no matter what. Or just like my overall experience with Delta, if anything has ever gone wrong, they've been very consistent in their approach to fix it. And this doesn't mean you need to be perfect in your business. It's just this level of willingness to help and make things right that are those building blocks that give you this opportunity to be the Delta of your area or be this company that's known for X. And whatever that is, I do think that training is incredibly important and honestly like the most integral step in this overall like developing a trustworthy brand is making sure that your employees can understand what type of brand that is, what your morals, your core values are, your mission, and then upholding that every single day. And if your employees feel like they have that autonomy to be a part of creating this brand, they're going to wake up every single day like excited to put their feet on the ground and head into work. Ashley, welcome back to Workflows and Espressos. I cannot wait to hear what you have for us this week. What is our In-Haven insight?
Hey, Meaghan. So what percentage of reviews left on Airbnb are 5-star reviews?
I think I'm going to say 70 to 75%.
Did you know that 85%, so majority of the reviews left on Airbnb are 5-star reviews, according to AirDNA?
That is wild. So there's no varied feedback.
No varied feedback, which makes customers very wary of OTA review systems. They're really hard to trust the reviews there.
So, what is In-Haven doing to help customers and clients all around the country achieve these quality standards and true feedback from guests?
Yeah. So basically, we are helping to bring trust back to the industry by partnering with professional property managers to establish and maintain clear quality standards for the bed, bath, and kitchen, areas where guests are really reliant on comfort and reliability. So this is essentially restoring trust in our industry. And we use our quality checklists. So we've got quality checklists for the bed, bath, and kitchen of all the products that you'd want in those homes at various different price point ranges. So from pillows to coffee makers. And these price point ranges that we have, we call economy, mid-scale, premium, and luxe, are there to help fit any budget. So you can choose an item that works best for your budget. And these items are chosen by merchandising experts for their durability and comfort to ensure a pleasant stay for guests.
You know what I love about In-Haven, Ashley, is you leave everything that makes a property unique up to the property managers, but nobody wants a unique pillow in their vacation rental, right? Or a unique pan. We all want these quality standard items, and we want our couches and our views to be of our own quality and decor to show the uniqueness of every single property. And I love that you're taking the question mark out of the things that shouldn't have a question mark.
Yep. Yeah. Saving you a lot of time and money and helping build some standards across your portfolio of homes. So that's what we're here for. And definitely reach out if you'd like to work with us. You can reach us at ashley@inhaven.com or just go to inhaven.com and check us out.
Thank you so much for being here, Ashley. I can't wait for next week.
Thanks.
Another crucial discussion point here is your outgoing efforts in general. And we talked about this a little bit a couple minutes ago. I think that as your company starts to become more and more well known, you might be in a position where you're fielding a significant amount of requests for homeowners to join your program or realtors reaching out to you for projection requests. That is an incredible place to be when you are in a position of being able to say yes or no to a given property. But there are times when that always isn't going to be the case, whether it be because of market changes or oversaturation in your market and you just have so many property management companies that people aren't coming to you, or whether you're in a market with a lot of rental by owners who aren't necessarily interested in using a management company. So this is where these like sales tactics are really going to matter. And I am a huge fan of having a dedicated resource as a business development representative. I think for many companies just starting out, that is you as the owner, if you're the owner and you're listening to this, because you're the person that has the most skin in the game, right? Like there is no better salesperson than the owner of the business. But as your company starts to grow, you have other things to do. You need to move the company forward. You need to be working with employees. You need to be running the day-to-day operations. And it might get harder and harder to be that dedicated resource, especially if you need to work on outbound efforts. So this is where this dedicated sales representative comes into play. And I think it is real. And this could be a business partner, right? Like, I just think that there should be eventually, it doesn't have to be right away, some type of separation, and a dedicated resource whose only job it is to go and sign up owners onto your program. And in terms of like an overall structure for this position, I highly recommend commission with a base and allow that person to be compensated based on how many properties they're bringing on, or the projection amount of those properties, or their commission structure, whatever it may be that works for you in the model that you're working with. That person's making money when they're bringing homes on, and it's less of a payroll concern for you because these properties are being brought on. So my number one tip would be to find a dedicated resource. And when you think of this personality type for this resource, I think it is an Enneagram 7. It is a rainmaker on the culture index. This is someone who is gregarious, who loves to talk to people, who is not afraid of making a cold call, who you can put in front of an owner and is going to be professional, but be able to connect with people, right? Like, I'm not thinking about your, like, needs to be in office, data analytics, like not wanting to discuss people or work on a team with a lot of conversation. And this probably seems like a given for a salesperson, but I think some of this can be kind of hard to find. And once you find that person who is naturally really outgoing and wants to have these conversations, you recognize like this is the ideal fit for this role. And I do think analytical experience is important, especially in this position when a lot of what you're selling is your data and your projections and your ability to market and book a property and ultimately provide a return to a homeowner. But I think more than anything, like, that part of things can kind of be taught. The personality can't be, right? Like, you can't make somebody outgoing and make somebody excited to make a cold call. It's really just like a personality type. So those are my suggestions on who and what type of person to hire. Obviously, setting up that commission structure with them so you feel a little bit more comfortable bringing on an additional resource on your payroll. The next thing I would say in terms of outgoing efforts, Vintori is a really, really great resource, and they're not a sponsor of Workflows and Espressos, but I really love what Brian and Brooke built and their ability to just help you build a pipeline by getting those owner addresses and that contact information so you can start sending out mailers. This is something you can do yourself if you're finding it difficult to justify paying for another software in your tech stack. Getting those addresses, like, that is going to be your bread and butter, and making sure that those addresses are within the community, let's say, or within this like portfolio of homes that you're looking to target and bring on your program. And then once you have that information, send out mailers. It is worth the investment every single time. If you get one homeowner for the 1,000 mailers you sent out, they have paid for themselves, I can assure you. Make sure that your mailers have a call to action, they have your contact information on them, and they have your differentiator, right? You're describing, and maybe your differentiator is your brand, that you have this very like new and sexy and cool brand, and that is what you really want to show off in your mailers. I think it's really important that those mailers are looking like the best of what you have to offer, but they do have a call to action on them. So the homeowners know you want them, you are open and available, here's your contact information, and this is what our branding looks like. And then the key, once these mailers go out, is you answer the phone and you respond to the emails. So much of this outbound effort is responsiveness. And this is why I say that a dedicated resource is so helpful, because it's really difficult to be responsive when you're trying to run business development, manage the homeowner team, answer all the guest calls, clean the units, right? Like, when you're doing everything, it can be really hard to be at your computer or be at the phone waiting for these potential homeowners to call you. And I think I might be completely making up this statistic, but I do think it's true that if you respond within 7 minutes to an email or a phone call, it is like over 50% more likely that you're going to close the deal. Okay, there is a possibility that I fully just made that up, but I do think I've read that somewhere. And you know what? It sounds really good. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Like if you are on the top of mind for somebody and they send you to an email and they want to work with you and it takes you 48 hours to get back to them, that's a really good indicator for them on how responsive you're going to be to their guests or to them once they sign a contract with you, right? Like if you're not jumping to respond to them when they're inquiring with you, then imagine what it's going to be like when they've actually been on your program and you're not in that sales mode anymore. And then I would say too, like for homeowners that approach you that don't necessarily make a fit for your program or aren't necessarily a fit for your rental program, respond to those people too and turn them down and explain why they aren't a fit, whether they're in the wrong location or it doesn't make financial sense and the cost to manage the home would be too high to run a profitable business. Explain that reason to them, because these are the people that will either say like, okay, amazing. Well, we're looking to buy another property. So when we do that, we're going to reach out to you so we can make sure it is a fit for your program. Or they have a friend that owns a property that would be a fit for your program. Like keeping these connections, whether or not you want to take this home, and building a strong relationship is important no matter what. We've seen this a lot. The previous company that I used to work for, we would turn down about 80% of the homeowners that would reach out to us directly, but so many of these homeowners either owned multiple properties, planned to own multiple properties, or had friends or family that owned a property that we really wanted to go after. So it was always worth it for us to continue to respond or call them back or email them back when they inquired with us, even if they weren't a fit for the program. And that kind of brings me into realtor relationships. I think this depends on what market you are altogether. I think sometimes realtor relationships are very, very important, and without them, you absolutely would have zero properties on your program. Other times, you might not need a super close-knit realtor relationship, but you should still know those realtors in your area for referrals. You have the opportunity to decide whether or not you want to pay out a referral fee to agents. I have seen this done both ways and be successful both ways. I think it really just depends on what works for you financially. And, some people or companies feel adamantly opposed to paying realtors for referrals because their program, they say, like speaks for themselves. Other people have no problem paying out realtor referral fees if it means that the property is easily going to pay for itself with one reservation, or the realtor fee is going to pay for itself with one reservation. It just is completely up to you. But I think deciding this and then sticking to it and making the decision be consistent across the board is really, really important. And then just developing those relationships all together. I recommend going to a realtor's office and suggesting a lunch and learn where you bring food in and you do an overview of the data that you're seeing, right? Like go with key data charts, go with any other software where you are able to have it look into market data and be able to provide that to real estate agents who might otherwise not have that information. It shows them a lot, right? Like number one, you're going to take good care of them. You're bringing them lunch and you're doing a presentation. Number two, you know what you're talking about and you're able to really you understand the area. So if they put one of their clients in front of you, you would be able to intelligently respond to any questions that they had about reservations and overall booking volume in your area. So I do think cultivating these relationships is incredibly important, depending on whatever works for you. And then, we've also seen market reports or data reports sent out via email to realtors so they have an understanding of how you're performing, especially if you have the largest company in your area. You have the most data. Use that to your advantage with these real estate agents because this is the data that they want to put in front of their homeowners. Now let's discuss projections. So I think sometimes working with agents can be really difficult because a lot of times their client wants the highest projection possible to have the highest return on their investment. And I feel very strongly that it is never not once worth putting an inflated projection in front of a homeowner that you feel is unrealistic. Even if it means you're going to lose the deal, it is much better to communicate an accurate range for what type of income you believe a property is going to make than it is to overproject it every single time. And truly, I think I would die on this hill. This is something that's so close to my heart because I think close to my heart, as if we're talking about curing an incurable disease. But it is something I feel super passionately about, because no matter what, like if you overinflate the projection and you close the deal, you are not going to meet those expectations and the owner is going to be upset, right? And I would much rather it be a competitor that overprojected a property that isn't able to meet those expectations, and then the homeowner reaches out and you say like, hey, yes, the range that I put in front of you was lower than Billy Bob's properties, but that's because I feel very confident in the number that I put in front of you. And you're welcome to join our program, but just know like these are our expectations, and we will make sure to adjust and communicate those adjusted expectations to you along the way. But overinflated projections, they never not once work out. Never not once. It is a headache of a conversation. It is a painful process, and it's not worth closing the deal, because no matter what, it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation down the road. And I would much rather have that conversation on the front end and not sign the deal than I would later on when we've overinflated and not met those expectations. So ensure those projections are technology-based and those are done from a data aspect versus wanting to really close the deal. I suggest having, the same person that's working on your rates and revenue at least approve or look at or be a part of that projection process. And I know it can be really hard when you want to close a big deal or when you're working with an agent that's kind of pushing you for a higher number, but I can assure you it's not worth it. My last tip for you all, I think I've been talking like a million miles a minute, so I'm sorry. Can you tell I'm excited about this subject? My last tip is to secret shop, okay? Secret shop other people and secret shop yourself. I want you to understand the responsiveness of your competitors, and then when you secret shop yourself, I want you to understand your own responsiveness. Understand what your competitors are offering, what their brand looks like, what type of information they're providing in their projections. All of this is going to be really helpful in your own sales process. And have your mom or have your sister secret shop yourself so you can, or make up a fake name. It doesn't matter. Just understand from a client's perspective what your sales process looks like. I guarantee you will come out of it and have multiple things that you want to change. And that is only going to make you better. Understand like whoever you have in this role, do they have an ability to close the deal? Are they someone that can easily connect with people? Can they talk through data and give a comprehensive overall like guide to your program? And if not, then maybe you have a person that's on your bus and needs to be on your bus but is in the wrong seat. Or maybe you have the wrong person on your bus altogether. I think it's just really important to understand what type of process you have from an outsider's perspective, because those are what potential clients are going to be seeing. And if I talked way too fast for you and you heard absolutely nothing that I said, I want you to remember these 6 things. Number 1, know what owner you want. Know what they look like, where their home is, what you're targeting. Number 2, have a differentiator, have a selling point for your program. Number 3, make sure that you have a brand that is representative of the service that you're providing, that you're being authentic with that branding, and that you're upholding it every single day to build that consistency. Number 4, the sales mentality is very, very, very important. This is salespeople. All right, we're trying to sell those contracts. Have your sales mentality, put on your talking voice and your face, and get excited to go out there and meet with homeowners. Number 5, data-backed projections are very, very important. Do not overinflate numbers that you do not think are possible to achieve. And number 6, make sure you are secret shopping no matter what. Make it a quarterly thing, make it a monthly thing. Get out there and secret shop, okay? I had the best time with you today. I had new scenery today, so I hope that you've enjoyed the moss wall. We're going to be in a different place next week. I'm really excited to re-record with these 2 guests. Let's hope that no audio and video issues pop up, because I think I'd probably have to pay them a good sum of money to re-record a 3rd time. But thank you all so much. I hope you have the best week ahead, and I am really looking forward to the next episode of Workflows and Espressos. Have a good day. Bye.